Hey there, and welcome to my first YouTube video. I'm Slow Motion Mike. Let's go for a ride. I am leaving my neighborhood here in South Springfield. It's Springfield, Missouri. I know there's a lot of them, so I should probably clarify that. Um, I really like leaving from my house, cutting through neighborhoods. It's just such a pain sometimes to load up a trike. They're so heavy. Um, I ride an azub Fly 26, and it's probably pushing north of 40 pounds. Never really weighed it, but it's a pretty hefty machine. I love it, no complaints about it, but yeah, not the easiest thing to throw in your truck. So I was doing this ride on a Sunday, and for the life of me, I cannot understand drivers like this. No traffic. I like to assume the best in people, but maybe they just didn't see me. But you always have to be vigilant when you're riding a bike, especially with a trike, because you're so much lower and have less visibility. This is kind of a cool park. Not much to look at, but it's has a trail that goes through like utility along a utility easement. And what's really great about this is it ends up bringing you to a trail system and a tunnel that takes you under Highway 60. So this is like my cheat code to avoid some really busy major roads. It's really safe, and it's kind of a fun downhill because, as you'll see in a moment, the grade kind of increases because I mean you have to descend to go under this this highway. So it's you get to do some sharp turns and you get to go fast. So I love both of those things, and plus tunnels are just fun. Whenever I'm making turns, I always lean on my trike. When you're going fast, it makes it feel faster, like you're really turning, and it's more exciting. But um, I've definitely taken my trike up on two wheels before. It's kind of scary, no fun. So I just lean all the time because it's better to do that, get it into the habit, than that one time where you flip your trike. So this is sort of on the other side of the highway after I've crossed under, and it's a pretty quiet section. We just got some rain before this video was shot, so it's a little flooded. I normally don't mind, doing like stream crossings or when things are a little flooded, because I know these trails. I know it's not deep, but I mean that's something that if you don't know where you're at, don't cross streams because you could easily, be up to your elbows or your neck in water. So here I'm cutting through the local hospital systems, Cox South. I love going by here because the emergency room is right there. So, if something bad happens and I don't need an ambulance, I'm just right there. I feel like the more I explore Springfield, the more little neighborhoods I find that are just cool and quiet. I really appreciate this neighborhood um, because they have some nice trees. It's just kind of a pretty ride. So here I'm connecting very briefly on the South Creek Greenway Trail, which is a really nice trail. If I was to turn left here, I could go all the way to the Springfield Botanical Gardens and then take a loop that takes me out into the country a little bit and loops around through where I can get to downtown eventually. Um, but it's a really neat trail that's just takes you to a lot of places, really cool. So when I originally filmed this, um, I forgot to do B-roll, so I had nothing but pictures of, or excuse me, videos of my trike like from behind. And so I ended up recreating this entire ride. I just went and did the same route twice just to get some extra footage, which actually worked out because the first attempt, the ride got rained out halfway through. The footage wasn't any good, so uh, through the movie magic of editing, we can just present this as one ride. So cutting through Phelps Grove neighborhood here. When we first moved to Springfield about 9 years ago, I lived around here. Really loved it. Really charming little neighborhood. Cool park, really close to the art museum. It's under renovation right now, but it's going to be really awesome when it opens. It's for a city of our size. I think Springfield's like 170,000 people. Um, it's a really cool resource because the art museum is actually free. Always love checking out just any garden. Like that's one of my favorite things about traveling slow is you get to just stop and look at stuff. Something you just can't do in a car. So here, just cutting through MSU. I cut through here almost every single time I go to downtown. Um, it's really quiet right now because it's the summer. This was recorded in July. So pretty soon this place will be teeming with life again. All the students will be back. I always really enjoy that energy, even though all the students think I'm like a weird old man on a weird looking bike, but that's okay. So I'm kind of heading into downtown here. Our downtown is small, but it has some cool stuff. We got some really good restaurants, some cool coffee shops, a nice square which I'll be riding through in a second. Um, but you know some old buildings and stuff, and there's some history. Like we have a history center on the square. But it's just enjoyable riding through this on a weekend when there's hardly any traffic. And honestly, even when there is traffic, you know, this street is like 20 miles an hour. So it's just a really chill ride, very low stress. And it's always fun seeing people out and about. You know, that's like, I feel like a common theme I always bring up when I'm talking about riding my trike is I love being out and it makes you feel more a part of a community when you're riding around. You see people, you're waving, you know, you go the same routes, you see some of the same people. Um, I don't think there's another way of traveling where you really get that sort of connection with your community as when you're riding around. And I think it's even better on a trike because, you know, you're not looking down at your handlebars, you're actually looking up around. So this is the square. This is pretty much like if you type in Springfield, Missouri on a map, this is where the pin drops right here. Cool little farmer's market going on. We're definitely getting more interesting murals and art installations popping up. I think there's going to be an event coming up soon where there's going to be like a block party as they repaint this entire section to my left. So I've lived here for about 9 years, and there's still little things I find when I'm riding around. Like for instance, the murals here to my left, like the one with Tesla. Like I didn't even know that was here. So there's always so much more you can find when you're exploring. Probably my favorite mural. I feel like it's a message to me specifically, like, hey, you still got it. You know, I think that resonates with me so much because I didn't think I would ever ride a bike again. You know, I injured my back a couple years ago and in my 30s, so pretty young to be off a bike, and I really missed it. And so eventually I caved and tried a recumbent trike, and really loved them. So my first trike was a Trike Maverick. Um, I loved that. It was a great trike, but pretty basic, like 8 speed. I outgrew that thing really quickly, and then I waited about a year, and then I tried out the azub Fly 26. I tried out the X, the 20, but the 26 is the sweet spot for me. I love to take turns kind of fast, and the handling on the Fly 26 is just amazing. The I have it with the roll-off hub and a dual chainring in the front, and the gearing's just fantastic. I can pick up a lot of speed downhill, but um, I can also climb really slowly, which eventually I want to do some touring on this thing. So I know I'll be tackling some hills, hopefully some mountains. So I'm gonna need all the gearing I can get. So I always forget when I'm riding to take breaks, and um, I think the day that I was filming this, it was probably 90 degrees or more, so this is pretty hot. I was drenched, and so I made it a point to stop, film myself drinking as a reminder to myself and other people to stay hydrated. Um, don't be a hero and pass out from heat stroke. Springfield has some really cool old neighborhoods. I mean, they're definitely like old money, but they're nice to look at. I feel like this is where like Kevin McAllister and his family would live from Home Alone. So this is next to one of my favorite breweries in Springfield, Tie and Timber, and it's one of my favorites really because of the neighborhood. Um, my favorite taco place in Springfield, which is Team Taco, is right across the street. It's a little red building. You'll see right here on your left. Awesome tacos. Check them out. Um, but this whole neighborhood is just really great. This is the Rountree neighborhood, and it's just, I don't know, it's doing everything right. Like, it is authentic. There are little mom and pop shops. There's people always walking. It's just a really cool vibe, and I wish we had more little pocket neighborhoods like these. I feel like it's the place everyone wants to live, but then the moment you start to build that in your neighborhood, people get pissed off and get all NIMBY. So that's kind of a topic for another video, but I still love riding through this neighborhood. Really beautiful, and it's a nice downhill. So I'm sort of looping back around near Phelps Grove Park. Um, see the we call it the French fry. I should probably look up the real name of it, but it's just the French fry. Really cool sculpture. And that's our art museum that's getting renovated. It's going to be really cool. Like I said before, it's a free museum, which I think for a city of our size, it's a pretty awesome resource. Um, that's one thing I like about Springfield. We're not a huge city, but we have some cool stuff. I think our bike infrastructure is better than most cities our size. We have this network called the Link, and it's what I'm riding on most of the time when I'm cutting through the city, and it's just a collection of designated streets with very low traffic. with signage, and it allows you to cut basically through neighborhoods um, and get to where you're going safely. Yeah, so at this point, I'm pretty much kind of turning around, finishing up my loop, heading back home. There's just one little section of gravel by this power station or substation or whatever, and I always like doing it just because I don't know, gravel's always fun. So any chance you get, do some gravel. So back on the South Creek Greenway, and this connects me with some of the neighborhoods that eventually take me back to the south side.
Wait. Wait.
So maybe I was getting delirious from the heat, but I thought the walk
Wait.
signal was like pretty bumping, so
Walk time
I was
zone
grooving a little bit.
completed.
But I don't know. I find joy in little things like that, little ridiculous things that people probably look at me from the outside and think I'm crazy, but I don't know. I enjoy just living my life. So here I'm kind of on the outskirts of the hospital system, and um, this is kind of near the end of my ride as I get closer to home. It's a really nice downhill. It's just fun to kind of let loose and get the wind in your hair or your beard if that's all you have. So I don't do a lot of sidewalk riding. Um, I try to follow the rules. That's my personality type. I'm kind of a rule follower. But when it comes to safety, I say break the rules, ride the sidewalk. Um, just make sure you put pedestrians first. Like I'm never going to run a pedestrian off the sidewalk. I always stop or get over, just because the sidewalk is there for them. It's not for cyclists. But if it comes between the choices like riding on a busy road that looks unsafe, that doesn't have a good shoulder, or a bike lane, or the sidewalk, I'm riding the sidewalk. So, I mean, here's a really good example. Like, I always go out of my way to check as I'm going through here because this is super narrow. There's no way that I could fit through here and a pedestrian could fit through here. So, I just always check, try to be courteous. So, as I'm wrapping up this ride, I'm getting close to my neighborhood. I remember thinking, like, well, why am I filming this? What's the point of recording on the rides and everything? And I really think it's just to share something I enjoy with people. I think, you know, there's a lot of YouTubers and videos that I watch that make me want to get out and be active. Um, and so if I could post a video and maybe one person watches that and decides, well, I want to get a trike, I want to go out and ride and work on my fitness, then like I would be pretty happy about that. I think the chance of changing the world for most of us is not really an option, but we can change people's minds on a small scale. We can change people's lives on a small scale. Like I often think about this in my life that maybe in my life I will help or touch the lives of 5 to 10 people. Maybe it's 20 people, but um, that's a lot more than if I did nothing. So um, I guess the point is just try to do something small, and I think that's what this YouTube channel is. It's just doing something small, getting out, recording my rides, and having a good time and sharing that with people. All right, well, that is it for this ride. Thanks for tuning in. If you can, like and subscribe so you can get notified when I post new stuff. And yeah, take it easy and keep on triking.